uh, let me, so please try to mute yourself and switch off your video, so you will be recording it. This is going live, so probably it's better. So let me stop sharing this screen and I will try to share my entire screen. Okay, so I hope it is visible for you, right? So you are able to see the screen. You are able to see the screen, right? So just type your feedback on the chat box so that I can know. Yes sir, all clear. Okay, cool. Okay, hello everyone, good evening. I welcome you all to this tutorial class 5 on problem solving through C programming NPTEL course. So this is Venkata Sai Charan, and today we will be this session will be bit quick, and I don't think I mean, we have covered lot of things in the previous session that is part of this particular week. So what we have seen in the previous lecture is what is the switch statement and how the switch statement, the control flow of the program will change with the switch statement. Then we looked into some basic fundamentals of the loopings, and followed by what is entry control looping and exit control looping in C programming language, and how do we achieve that by using while and do while, and what is the use case of for. Then we quickly jumped into the so we quickly jumped into the this part, like what is the use case of for loop and while loop, I mean the break statement and the continue statement in the looping. Then we look into some quiz questions. So in this week what we are trying to do is we will be looking into the nested loops. That means how do we write a loop inside a loop, and what is the control flow of that particular thing. And then we will try to look into some basic examples with nested loops. And I think one of your programming question this week is also about printing the patterns, and where you need to understand the nested loops. So I will try to give some glimpse about the nested loops by giving some examples. How do we use for inside for loop, and while inside while loop, how do we use for loop and all this stuff. And then we will look into the another statement, control flow statement, that is called goto statement, and we will look into some programs with the goto statement. And probably I think with goto statement, how the control flow will change, and what are all the drawbacks with goto statement, and why it is not considered as a good programming practice to use the goto statement. Also we will try to scratch that surface as well. And finally we will try to answer some quiz questions, and then we will wind up this session. So let's just get started. So what is nested looping? So in the previous lecture we have seen what is loop. So if you want to perform a task for a repetitive number of times, we use this looping structures in C programming language, like for loop, while loop, and do while loop, and everything. So what is nested loop? So here the fundamental question is, what happens if you write a loop inside a loop? So that is called as nested loop. Just like nested if statements, if we write if inside a if, so that is called as nested if. Similarly, if we write loop inside a loop, that means for loop inside another for loop, so that is called as nested looping. So we can there is no any restriction such that you should write only one loop inside another loop or something like that. In one loop you can write number of loops, but you need to understand that the loopings are very powerful statement. You need to understand how to work with it properly, otherwise you will end up in a infinite loop, or your program flow will abruptly change and you might lead to a lot of problems. So that's what we will try to look. And For example, you can consider that the while loop inside a for loop. So you can write while loop inside a while loop, and you can write vice versa. That means for loop inside a while loop, and you can write with two for loops. So basic structure of this nested loops will be like this. So there will be outer loop. So this is the scope of the outer loop from here to here. So in the outer loop there are some statements, and after that you can use another inner loop, and inner loop consists of several statements which is executed by this loop. So after executing this loop, there will be, you can write some other statements or you can skip, that is up to you. But again, this is the scope of outer loop and this is the scope of inner loop. So when we consider the program flow execution, so this is how it will look like. So initially the program flow comes here and check for the condition. If the condition turns out to be the false, let us say if it is a outer loop is a while loop, so if the while condition fails here itself, so it will jump out of this loop, so it will not go into the inner loop. So on the other hand, so if the outer loop condition turns out to be the true, so it will jump into the inner loop, and in the inner loop it will again check the condition, and if the condition turns out to be the true, it will execute these statements which is in the inner loop as long as the condition satisfies here. And the moment the condition turns out to be the false, so again this inner loop execution will stop, and again it will go to the outer loop, and again the flow will come back to the inner loop. So this is how the outer loop and inner loop will perform work together. So I mean this particular example can be illustrated with this sample program. So I think it's better to show it in the Visual Studio Code. So I think this, you can able to see this code, right? Okay, so let me clear the screen, and yeah, so this is a basic sample program. So what I am trying to do is I am trying.
Sir, unable to see presentation, sir.
Why?
We are unable to see the presentation. It is not properly presented.
You are
It's
not
visible, sir.
It's you are able to see my Visual Studio Code, right?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Small.
Okay, font is small.
Screen.
Font is small, you are saying, right?
Presentation. It is not in presentation mode.
Why it is not in presentation?
It is giving a small like if our video. It is visible like a video, not as a presentation.
Okay.
We can zoom it at our end. We can zoom it our screen at our end. So those who are not able to see, those who.
So you are able to see the screen, right? You are able to see my code, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
so you I think there is some problem with your end. So I think I tried to zoom it as much as possible. So are you guys able to see it?
Yes, sir. He needs to long press on that small video and he needs to pin it.
Okay, sure. Okay, maybe he will do that by at his end. So probably, so this is a sample program to show the nested looping. So here we are using two nested loops. So I will just give you an example. So what this program is trying to print is that it will print a series of tables. So let's say 1 ones are 1, 1 twos are 2, 1 threes are 3, like that. So you can enter the number of you can enter the number and it will print the table. So 1 table it will print, second 2 table it will print, 3 table, 4 table and 5 table, and etc. So based on the number. So oh my god, who is this? So okay, so so we will try to understand this program. So first we will read the n value, and then we will try to read the n value. So the outer loop will execute for n number of times, and the inner loop will execute for this is I equal to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. Let us say if I enter 5, so what it will try to do is it will the outer loop will execute for 5 times. So this condition turns out to be true. So that condition control flow of the program, the control flow of the program comes here. Who is this? So I request everybody to join at 6 o'clock so that it will not be painful for the other guys. So again the program flow comes to the so the program flow comes to the second loop. Here what it will try to do is it will try to it will try to print 1 to n. So it will try to multiply this value, outer value, with the inner value, and it will try to print those values. So you will get a clear understanding if you try to run this particular example. So this is table.c. so let me clang table.c -o table. So /table. So I am entering 5 value. So you can see, so the outer loop will execute for 5 times, and in the inner loop this for loop is reasonable for executing the statement for the 5 times, because I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. So it is iterating. So every time when it iterates, or every time it iterates, it comes to the inner loop, and here in this inner loop what it is trying to do is from 1 to 10, it is trying to multiply with the outer value I star j. So that means it will try to 1. So in the first case 1 into 1, it will print 1, then 1 into 2, because the outer loop value does not change. So first the inner loop will execute, and once the execution will comes out to true, it will print a new line, and then it will go to the second iteration. So in the first iteration 1 into 1, 1 into 2, 1 into 3, 1 into 4, 1 into 5, 1 into 6, then it will break. So when the moment I less than equal to, if the j value enters into the 11, it will break. So again the for loop of the external loop will increment it by 1. Because of that, so it will, the I value will be 2. You will see the 2 table, same iteration will happen here in the inner loop, again for the 3 table, and again for the 4 table, and again for the 5 table. So this is how the loop inside loop will happen. So now I am giving 11. So you can see that 11 tables. So it is more or less same. So I am posting the code. You will try to figure this out, and you try to play with this to get your hands dirty. So now I am trying to explain you the another code with the loop. So now this time what we will try to do is we will try to use the while loop. Inside the while loop we will use the for loop. So this is how it will be. So we are actually trying to print the pattern. So if you see your this week example, there is a more or less similar kind of question is there in the this week's assignment. So if you try to understand this program, it will be very much easy for you to print similar patterns. So I have given the code here as well. So but I will try to explain it in the this section. So let me minimize this one a bit. Okay, so this is what we are trying to do. So we will try to understand this program. So this program, in this program we are trying to execute the outer loop for the 5 times. So the outer loop will be executed for the 5 times. So the moment the condition turns out to be true, the star will be printed. So here we have 1 star. So and so then the program will come here because of this slash n, and n value will be incremented. So initially the n value will be 1. So n value will be incremented. So now n value will be 2. In this case I am writing n equals to 2. So now n value will be 2. So here in this inner loop, what it is trying to do is it will try to print the dollar values less than n. So I equal to 1, I less than n. Here n equal to 2. So the dollar value will be printed for one time, and now this loop will exit. Again the control flow will go here. So here n value will be 2 because it got incremented here, and which is less than 5. So n 2 less than 5, which turns out to be the true. Again, so the star will be printed. In the third iteration, similarly it comes here and it will print the dollar. So here the n value will be 3. So I equal to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. That means the dollar will be printed 2 times here, and and this loop breaks and it will go again to this loop. So that n value will be 3, so 3 less than 5, so it will print star, and now it will be $3 star. So something like that. So we will try to execute this one. So I will try to remove this one just for the program purpose. clang patron dot c hyphen o patron. Okay, sorry, my bad. Hyphen o patron dot slash. So you can see first the star will be printed, in the second iteration dollar star will be printed, and dollar dollar star will be printed, dollar 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 star will be printed, and $4 will be printed. So then the loop will terminate. So it will break the loop when it prints the $4. So this star will not be printed in the last iteration. So whole thing will be coming out of the external loop as well. So this is how the program will execute with this pattern. So I think I have shared a link here. So I have shared a link in this lecture. So lecture notes, you can go and see that there are so many ways that you can experiment with this external loops and the internal loops. So how to print this kind of patterns. So 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 3 and 1 1 4 and 1 1 5, and how to print 1 2 3 4 5. So and similarly how to reverse the pattern, how this is called, this kind of examples are called as pyramid of patterns. So this is half pyramid, you can print this side as well, so which will turn out to be the full pyramid. And you can try to look at this particular page and learn how they are actually trying to build this pyramid by using the nested loops. So I think this is very much helpful, and you are able to you are able to understand the nested looping in a better way. And mostly if you go to any exams or competitive exams, or if you go to any particular gates or some gate exam, or in some other national level exam where the computer program is involved, so this kind of patterns is very necessary to understand, and there will be high probability that this kind of questions will be there in that particular exam. So you need to understand this nested loopings very well. So similarly you can see that you can print the similar pattern. So this is called binary pyramid, left right binary pyramid. So you try to so this is called as a full pyramid. You try to look into these examples, and it will be very much helpful for you. So that is all about nested looping. So how you can use, so you can try all these examples in your home and try to understand how these things will work. And if you have any queries, then we will try to address these queries in the next class. So now I will jump into the another statement called goto statement, so which is a very much important thing to understand, even though we don't use it in the real time. But goto statement is essential to understand how we can jump from one place to another place by using goto statements, and how to use those labels and everything. So goto statement is pretty simple. So goto statements is one of the statement, just like how we use continue and break. So this is also a similar statement, and every time what it will try to do is it will try to alter the flow of execution by jumping into some particular place and do the execution start from this place, because we already know that C is a sequential programming language. So the statements will be executed one after another. So but if you want to jump into some particular place and execute some program, there you need to use these goto statements. So let's say the program flow starts here, and statement 1 is executed, statement 2 is executed. So but after statement 1, statement 2 should be executed if it has to be executed in a sequential order. But if you want to jump to some other location and execute this statement, then you need to call goto, and you need to specify the label name. So based on this label name, the compiler will jump into that particular position, and then from there it will start executing the program. So this is the high level understanding of the goto statement, you will get a better understanding by looking at this example. Let me write. You guys are able to see the program, right? So this is label 1, which is called as G label, and initially the program flow will start from here. So it will execute these labels, and so whatever is there in till now, if you don't call go to statement, so the execution will be sequential. So this is one label and this is two label. Then we are trying to ask the user to enter the age. So based on age, if you want to jump to that particular location G, so you, if the age is less than you mean greater than 18, you want to jump into this particular label and execute this print value. Otherwise you need to jump into, who is this joining at 6:30? Oh, half of the class is gone, so why you are joining now? So so if the age is less than 18, so we will jump into the label S, and then we will execute this statement. Now we will try to run this program and understand. So clang, this is simple goto.c hyphen o goto1. So there is one warning because we have used void main. You don't need to worry about that. So then we will try to run ./goto1. So see, similar initially the program flow starts from sequential, so it is printed. So both these print statements will be printed. Then it will come here and ask for the eligibility age. So if it is 12, I am entering 12. So this condition will turns out to be false. So the else statement will be executed. So it should go to this particular statement and print. So you are not eligible. Again it will come back here and it will, the same question will be asked here. So if it is 23, then you are eligible and you are not eligible. Why it is printing not eligible? Because it is going to this statement, this label, and it doesn't know that after this label it should come out. So it will print this label. It is trying to print whatever is there in this particular label. Then it will come here because it is sequential. From there it is coming. It will work as a sequential program. So in order to break this scenario, we will try to change this program with bit alteration. So we are trying to name another label called label exec label. So exec is a keyword, I guess. So I think label 1, we will try to print label. So we will try to print label 1, and what we will do is, after printing this thing, we can say that go to label 1. Here also we will say that go to label 1. So here now what it will try to do is, initially these two statements will be printed. Again, whenever after executing this particular statements, it will again jump back here and execute this statement, and it will not execute it sequentially. So from here also the jump will happen to label 1 again. So let me try to recompile this program. So initially these two statements will be printed because there is no other option. The program will go in a sequential execution. So here I am entering 12. So the statement will fail here. So this particular print will be added, and again it will jump back to this particular label 1. See, you can see that it is printing the statement. Again the label, it is jumping to this particular label, and now I am entering 34. So this particular label will be executed. Again from there it will not execute this label. So from here itself it will directly jump back to this label 1. So this is more or less trying to use the simple basic goto statements. So now we will try something interesting. So we will try to look how we can actually do looping with goto statement. So this is bit interesting thing. Let me minimize it.
Sir,
Yeah.
for 34 we are getting both now, sir.
What?
For 34, for 34 age,
Uh,
both options are printed.
no, 34, 34.
Check it. You are eligible. You are not eligible. Both are there.
Okay, let me try to label 1. Go to label 1. Let me try to. Okay, let me recompile this. Okay, so you are eligible. It is printing because, okay, now I am entering 35. See, maybe this happened because I didn't save the previous output. So previous time I ran the program without compiling it. So I mean without saving that thing. So now you can try. So you are not eligible, and then it is jumping to label 1. And even though if it is beyond 18, so it is trying to execute this statement, and it is jumping to label 1. Okay, you got it?
Okay, sir. Now we got it, sir.
Okay, cool. Maybe it's my bad. So maybe I didn't try to save the program, and without saving the program, so the previous run will be there, right? So the same binary I tried to execute. So now we will look into something interesting, which is called as looping with goto statement. So this is a main program. So here the a value will be 10. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to in a labeled in a label loop we are trying to write a do while loop, so which is an exit control loop. So what we are trying to do is whenever a value is 15, we are trying to skip that particular value, and we are jumping to that particular loop again. Otherwise the normal values will be printed. So this is fairly simple program, but there is one caution. So I wrote this particular program specifically to show you that what happens if you misuse or if you don't know how to use the looping statements, then you will end up running in a infinite loop. So I will try to show that thing by compiling. So let me break this thing and clear it. So clang go to loops .c -o go to 2 ./go to 2. So here it is very simple. So from 10, because a value is 10, from 10 to less than 20, that means 19 it will print, but except in this case it will skip, and it will try to increment the value, but it will not go to this place and print the 15 value, just it will again go to this loop, so that this part of the execution will be skipped. So this is just like continuous statement. So now this program looks fairly simple. So right, because the 15 value will not be printed and you are just skipping. So we are using go to statement just like a continuous statement. But if you don't know properly how to use the go to statement, if you have removed this go to statement from here and if you have placed it here, what happens is bit tricky. Okay, not here, sorry. So we will try to run this program again. Oh, okay, not here, sorry. It is there in infinite loop, but you can't able to see because he pasted it here. Not here, we will paste it here, then we will get to know. Cool. See, the program is continuously running, and after some memory that core program will be terminated by the operating system. So this is turning into a infinite loop. So every time it is coming here and it is jumping there, coming here and jumping there, it don't know where to stop. So validation of such a kind of scenarios is very much needed, and it is very important, because the main problem with goto statement is you can jump into any place and then started executing. So that's why in the programming world it is highly discouraged to use this goto statement. Instead of this goto statement, they will ask you to, even though if you try to write the goto statement in your program, so they will suggest you that you don't use goto statement, you try to write some other logic in place of this goto to jump into that place where with a conditional jumping, like you can use conditional jumping like if, or you can use while to iterate for number of time, and mostly they will try to avoid using goto statements. So that's what saying. So you will be easily caught into an infinite loop, and so there is no reliable escape from the code, because it is jumping here and there, and you don't see where to return from the program to the main program and exit. So that will consume lot of memory, that will consume lot of space in terms of there is the program will be analyzed based on space complexity and the time complexity. So in this case, if you use goto, so if it turns out to be the infinite loop, there is lot of space will be wasted and the time of the program will be wasted. So that's why it is not a good practice to use goto in the real life scenarios or real life programming, because you can't really control the flow of the execution if the logic turns out to be the false. So I have pasted a reference here. I highly encourage you to go to this link and read why goto is not used in real time scenarios. So that is what I would like to cover in this week. So now we will try to jump into the program. This week programs are bit tricky to understand, so I try to explain these programs with compiling. So first we will try to solve it from your end. So if you are not able to solve, then we will try to look into these examples with code. So let's get started. So you can see the screen, and so the first program is this one. So what will be the output of this particular code snippet? So what will be the value of x? So you are not able to see. Let me try to. So anybody can answer what is the output of this program? No, Harsha, we can't use break to come out of this loop. So that is also the another thing. So we will look into that, because the breaks are used only in loops and switch statements. So apart from that, if you use the break, so you will it will throw you an error. So you can't really use to come out of the label. That's why the problem exists. So anyway, what will be the output of this program? Can anybody answer? Is it 1 or 2 or 3, or whether it will throw the error? So I am waiting for the answer. I will wait for half a minute, then I will try to explain what it is. Okay, I think nobody got this thing. So we will go, okay, sorry. So let me try it. Yes. So this is very important question. So you need to understand how to interpret this particular statement. So this is a conditional statement. So by looking into this one, you can easily tell that it is a conditional statement. So now how the conditional statement will be evaluated is your question. So this is the first condition. So if this condition turns out to be true, then the whole of this value, so there are two conditional, the problem here is if it is one conditional statement you might have answered clearly, but it is just two conditional statements. So this is one conditional statement. So if it turns out to be the true, the whole this value will be evaluated, this expression will be evaluated, and if it turns out to be the false, the 3 will be printed. So here the question answer is very straightforward, because 4 is not less than 8, the output will be 3. But what I am trying to do is I am trying to, so the answer for the question is very simple. So answer for that question is 3. That is okay, but we will try to look into this example in a bit elaborated way. So let me compile the program and show you the output. So okay, sorry. So let me try to save this program and clang example1 dot c hyphen o e1 dot slash e1. So value is 3. So this is ambiguous, because this is 4 less than 8, 4 is not greater than 8. So all this expression will not be evaluated, and this will be executed if it turns out to be the true, and because this is false, the 3 will be printed by default, that will be assigned to x. But what if it is 9? So if it is a 9, so this particular statement will be evaluated. So we do want to know whether it's a true or false in this case. So what we will try to do is, so in such scenarios how to evaluate. So for just to explain to you, so I just write this code. So I am just writing what will be printed here, and based on this condition, so there are 3 operators. So not operator and less than operator and equal to operator. So whether it will turn out to be true or false, we can just write a simple if loop to understand. If it is turns out to be true, 1 will be executed, 1 will be printed. If it turns out to be the false, 2 will be executed. For the time being, I will comment these 2 values, and then we will try to recompile the program again. So it turns out to be the false. That means, so here you can see that this results in 0, this particular statement, and I try to write it with a if loop. So if not loop, if condition. So again it turns out to be the false. So that means after all these thing, so what happens here was like this particular statement, even if this particular statement again turns out to be the false, so 2 will be printed. So just for understanding I am telling you, so how to evaluate such a kind of lengthy expression. So conditional operator inside a conditional operator. So this is very tricky. So now if you try to run, you will be getting output as 2. See, because this condition is true. So inside conditional operator will be again evaluated. Here in this second inside conditional operator, this value turns out to be the false. So 1 will not be printed, 2 will be printed. Okay. So this is how we should evaluate or approach this particular program. So by default the answer for this one will be 3, because here in the program 4 is not greater than 8. So all this second value will not be executed. So this condition will not be checked. So by default the value will be 3. So now we will look into the second program. So what will be the output of this particular program? Here we are using a while loop. So it is very simple. So just we need to understand how many times this loop will be iterated, so that you will get a output straight away. So this is more or less the same program. I will try to, yeah. So can anybody answer what is the answer for this program? What it will be printed? option A or option B or option C or option C. Initially k and j will be 1. So okay, so now we will try to debug this program iteration by iteration. So initially k value will be 1 and j value will be 1. So here the while loop is the condition is very simple. So it is a OR operator. So no, actually the output is 7 comma 4. We will try to see how it will be. Can you please mute yourself? It is coming out. So yeah, so we will see. So in the iteration 1, the k value is 1 and j value is 1. So this is a conditional statement, right? So while condition k is less than 4 or j is less than 3, so any one of this condition has to be true. Till now the loop will execute without breaking. So that's what we need to understand at the first level. So k value will be 1, so j value will be 1. So this loop is very easy to perform. So k value is incremented by 2 and j value will be incremented by 1. So from 1 the k value will be 2. So the moment the program comes here, the k value will be 3 and j value will be 2, because from 1 to it will be incremented twice. So now again the condition will be checked, the k value will be 3 right here and j value will be 2. So both these conditions will again come true and k value is incremented plus 2 and j value is incremented plus 1. So it will j will become 3 and k will become 5. Coming to the third iteration, so what happens is here the k value is 5, which is not less than equal to 4. So but this statement turns out to be the false here, but still the second statement j less than or equal to 3 will be true. So again the loop will be executed. So from 5 to from the 5 k value will be 5 in the previous round, right? So the 2 will be added to the 5. So the k value will be 7 and j value will be 4. So the moment the k value is 7 and j value equal to 4, both these statements turns out to be the false. So the loop will break here at this point and it will print the output. So I just gave you the insights for what is happening inside. So all these things will be happening when the loop is executing and you don't see the output. So you can see the output only when the loop breaks and when it comes out. So we will try to execute the same program. Example 2.c hyphen o e2 /e2. So it is 7 comma 4. So the output of this particular program is 7 comma 4. The P is the right answer. Now we will look into the third example. So this is pretty easy, anybody can tell, so you can give it a try. So what will be the output? Can anybody tell what will be the output for this program? For this one, I less than or equal to 9 and I plus plus. This is basic for loop without increment, without initialization and increment, but more or less initialization happens before the for loop and we are testing the condition and incrementation is happening inside the loop. So more or less it is the same for loop. So you can answer B, D, okay, A, okay. So the output for this program is 1 to 10. So why it is 1 to 10? Because initially the I value is 0, the I value is 0 and I less than or equal to 9 turns out to be the true, and here we have a post incrementation, so that the moment it enters into the loop the I value will be 1. So the first value printed is 1. So these two options you can eliminate straight away. So output will be 1 in between this C and D, but whether it will execute till 9th or 10th is tricky question. Most of the people will confuse that okay, the loop will execute till 9 only, but the moment the I value equal to 9, the loop will come here and it will increment the I value. So, I value will be 10 here and then it will print the value 10 as well. So, the output will be 1 to 10. Option D is the right answer. Yeah, option D is right answer. Sri Divya and Satyavan. So, you both are right. So, whoever thinks that it is option D, it is right. So, now we will look into the another program. So, here there is one question asked by, let me see who asked this question. So, Harsha, your question is answered in this example with a better illustration. So, this is simple if, inside if we are writing break. So, whether it will be right thing to use inside break or not. So, what will be the output for this program? Yes, option D is right answer because why? It's not option C, option D is the right answer. We will try to execute this particular program as well. So, see, I will not show you the compilation. The moment when I remove the break, it is throwing error. So, what is the error? You can see break statement may only within the loop or a switch. So, you can't use the break statement in if where you use the branching. So, switch break statement is especially for looping, or you can use it in if while loop, do while loop or for loop, or you can try to use it in switch case. So, it is an illegal statement or illegal use of break statement inside the if conditions or conditional statement. So, the answer will be compilation error, option D. I think your question is bit elaboratedly answer. Srikant, this for loop which you are talking is an infinite loop. It will be infinite loop. Yes, Emmanuel, you are right. So, and answer for this particular question will be the compilation error, because you can't use the break statement inside branching statements like if or if else ladder or whatever it may be. So, now we are looking into again switch statement. So, this is very important. So, what will be the output? Let me minimize this bit. I think you can see it here. So, yeah. So, what will be the output of this particular program? So, what will be printed on the screen? Are you guys able to see what will IIT Delhi, Kharagpur, Madras and Gauhati? There are 4 options. So, what will be printed here? We are using a switch statement, print statement inside a switch. Can anybody answer what is the output? You can just give it a try, no issues. Okay, Gauhati, okay, because it is default. Okay, cool. Okay, the answer is IIT Madras, because the print value here will be considered as a 3. So, IIT here these three values will be printed, and switch will take the count as a 3 and it will come to case 3 and execute. So, here the print IIT will be printed first, and the print statement inside this particular loop will return 3 to the switch value, and switch value will come to the case 3 and print the remaining Madras. So, you will get IIT Madras. So, you try to and take a look into this one with this example 4.c e4 dot slash E4. Yes, because the print value inside the switch statement will return 3 because it has 3 values, but if it is IIT let's say IISc, here now you will get a default value printed IISc Guwahati. See, okay, so this is how it will be, because it will return 3 here and default value will be printed. Okay, IT inside the switch condition. Okay, we will try that one as well. So instead of IIT you can print IT. So here IT means IT Kharagpur will be printed, I guess. IT Kharagpur will be printed because the print will return 2 to this switch, and switch will come to the case 2 and print the Kharagpur. Okay, when default will be printed? Yeah, good question. So the default will be printed when I try triple IT. So, and I will break here also, so that you will get a better understanding. So now we will see, because triple IT is not there in case 1, case 2, case 3. Here it will be 4. So if all the cases will fail, the default statement will be executed. So now we can see that triple IT and default Guwahati. Okay, I think Srikanth, you got the answer, right? Anyway, so I think we are at the end of this question, so we will look into the last question. So this is simple while loop with 2 conditions separated by comma, and what will be the output of this particular statement? I will show the there are 4 options: 4 5 4 4 5 5 0 0. So yeah, so what will be the output printed? So here you need to understand one fundamental thing. So what happens E5, what happens if there are 2 conditions, conditional statements inside a while, and so you have a warning. There is some rule with the comma operator. The comma operator evaluates both the arguments in turns and throwing away the result of the first one, throwing away the result except for the last. So what it will do is, it will evaluate these both statements, but it will try to throw the value of this first one out, and it will only return whichever is last in this condition. So let's say if you have 2 conditions separated by comma in this thing, so inside the while loop, so this particular condition will be considered for the while loop. So the j will be j less than or equal to 5, it will execute for the 5 times. So output, I guess the output will be 4 4. So we will try to see the E5, we will try to execute the program. So it will be 5 5 because the j will be executed for 5 times. So 4 times it will be executed, and 5th time it will be I and j will be equivalent as 5. So to reverse this one, what I am trying to do is, just for example, to illustrate that the while loop will take only the value which is in the right side, the extreme right, the last value. I will try to swap these 2 conditions. So I will try to use j equal to 5 and I equal to 4. Now even though the j equal to 5 condition is true, it will not consider that one, it will consider only the last one, because it is there it is there that there is rule written that there is a Quora discussion also regarding this particular statement. So you can go and take a look into that as well. So it will only consider this for the while condition, evaluating the condition. So we will try to recompile the program and see. So now the loop will consider only for 4 times, and I less than or equal to will be evaluated and it will come out of the loop. So this is the rule, fundamental rule. The comma operator evaluates the both arguments, throwing away the first result except for the last. So it will consider the last result, and the last evaluated expression determines the result of the entire expression. So that's what we have seen. So only this value is considered for the while loop. So this will be returned for the while condition. So it will execute the while loop based on this last condition. So that is about yeah. So if you consider this condition, the output will be 5 5. If you swap this one, the output will be 4 4. So now we have come to a last question. So this is pretty easy. So you can say what will be the output of this particular program. Can anybody answer? You can try to unmute yourself and tell what will be the answer for this program, this snippet. A, Rishikesh, A, B, A, couple of B's and A. Okay, most of them are going for A or B. Okay, so this we will try to evaluate this expression. So first, these two conditions are inside the these two conditions are separated by a OR operator. So any one of the condition has to be true to print the condition is true. Otherwise, if the both conditions will turns out to be the false, so it will print the false. So here 0 and 1. So the first condition is 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 means 0. So this condition turns out to be the false. Coming to the right side, 1 and minus 1 will result in 1. So here the output of these two conditions will 0 or 1. So the 0 or 1 means the output value will be 1. So the condition is true. So we will get output as condition is equal to true. The condition is true. So option A is the right answer. So this is all about the questions. So in this whole class, we have seen the nested looping, and then we have looked into the programming of the nested looping, and then we have looked into the goto statement and how to use the goto statement and how to transfer the program flow from one label to another label. Then we have discussed about what are the drawbacks with the goto statement. So this is all about this week. So in the next week we will try to look into the arrays. We will start with the arrays and how to use the arrays. So I will stop here and take any questions if you have any questions from your end. Otherwise we will stop the meeting. Yes, 1 and minus 1 will be 1, Ranjit. If you want to evaluate, you can run it in the compiler and check. So 1 and minus 1 will be 1. The output will be in binary. Yes, that's true, Sandeep Kumar. What you said is true. So any other questions from your side?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rishikesh.
Sir, if we define our labels after our main function for the goto statement, so what will be the output?
So it will not be executed. So program flow will be there only within the main. So if you define another function and then you call that function, and that is another case. But if you define outside the main, so it will not call. You can try it with an example. I mean, you can check. You can check with this sample goto. So what I am trying to do is I am trying to define. So it will not execute, in fact. So let's say label 2 here, and you say you print that f, I print f hello, and you call label 2 here. See, it is throwing the error here itself. So it can't identify,
Yes, sir.
Okay. because
Okay.
the scope of the program will start from main to main starting braces to ending braces. So once it returns to the main, once the program returns to the main value, so it doesn't matter where you call. Okay.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay, cool. So I think we can stop it here and have a nice weekend. Sorry, have a good evening. We will try to wind up.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, Priyanka.
In the first example, pattern example,
Hmm.
in the third line, you have printed the dollar symbols one after the other immediately. Can you explain it?
Okay, cool. Yeah, this one.
Yes, sir, that one.
So okay, so the thing is, let's say I equal to 1. So this condition turns out to be the true, and immediately the star will print here. Okay, and it will come to the next line because the new line is there. Here the n value will be incremented to 2. So n equal to 2. So here the inner loop, what the inner loop will define is I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n. Here the n value is 2. So I equal to, when the I value is 1, $1 will be printed. Okay, and when I equal to 2, this loop will fail. So the program flow will again come here, and n value equal to 2, 2 less than 5, which is true. So again it will come here and it will print star and it will enter. So again here the n value is equal to 2 plus 1, 3. So here so coming to the inner loop, here the n value is 3, I equal to 1, I less than 3. So the dollar value will be printed twice here. So dollar dollar, again the loop will break here and it will go to the main loop. So here the n value is 3, 3 less than 5, which is true. So again the star will be printed here. In the next loop, so it will print dollar for 3 times because n equal to 4. So dollar values will be printed thrice and star will be printed. Okay, so this is how the pattern will be printed.
Okay, sir, got it.
Got it? Okay, cool. Okay, uh, have a great evening, guys. So I will stop here and hopefully we will meet in the next class. So I will share the this particular notes and everything in the YouTube video description. You can go and check it out there. So maybe I will upload it in maybe half an hour or so. So you can see. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye. Good night. Channel name, you can search for my name, Venkata Sai Charan. Sai Charan Putrevu. So you can search this name in Google, YouTube, and you can see. Thank you.